Andrew McCart, IFL TV, in association with MTK Global. I've got to say I'm delighted to be joined by Jack Bowen, all the way in Australia. I mean, it's what, 8:45 in the morning here. What time's it over there, Jack?
It is. I actually couldn't even tell you. Probably about 7 o'clock. About
7 o'clock
at night. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy time zones. But Jack, first and foremost, how's things, mate? How's life?
Yeah, good. Yeah, smooth traveling at the moment. So we've got a fight on Saturday. So weigh in tomorrow. Everything's been going well. We had our downtime with COVID, obviously, and lockdown and restrictions, but everything seems to be pretty much opened up for us over here now. So it's business as usual. Yeah.
Oh, that's good news. That's good to hear. We spoke a little bit before I pushed record there about lockdown and opening up and stuff like that. So that's good to hear that you're back training. You've got a fight Saturday. But before we talk about that fight and stuff like that and your pro career so far, I want to just go back a little bit to your amateur career. Because I spoke to Mike Altamura and he says you travelled a lot with the Australian team and stuff like that. And just for people that don't know who Jack Bowen is, just give them a little breakdown of your amateur sort of pedigree and what you've done, your achieved amateur ranks.
So amateurs, I had about 80 fights. Towards the end, I won an Australian title and got to represent my country at the World Championships in 2019 in Russia. That was probably the highlight of my amateur career, but won like multiple state titles and had my Australian title as well. But look, it was all just doing the right things, putting myself in the right position to now eventually turn pro. And I ticked all the boxes I felt I needed to while I was still amateur, and seen some countries, been around, competed internationally, sparred some really good people as well that are like good pros over here. So did everything, ticked all my boxes, and now it's time to turn pro. And I got the opportunity after the World Championships in Russia. I spoke to Thomas Stalker, who I had a bit of a relationship with through who's the MTK scout. Spoke to him and got a close connection over here with Mike Altamura, who you mentioned before. And I said I was interested in turning pro, and the boys were happy to have me on the team. So ever since then, just been with MTK. And look, it's been a rough start with COVID and trying to find our way through that and navigate a path. But now, well, it's been 13 months out the ring, and this Saturday I get to advance in my pro career, which I'm really excited about.
So there was no sort of like dreams or hopes to try and qualify for the Olympics then? You thought after the World Championships it was the right time to turn pro?
Yeah. I before our trials I said no, I don't want to keep going on. And look, that was a decision I had to make. It was probably one of the first decisions in my adulthood where I went against a few people, even family, friends, and people who invested time into me to make that Olympic dream happen. And I kind of said, look, it's not for me. But I did have aspirations of going to the Olympics, but after World Championships, I won my first fight. Second fight, I felt I was completely robbed, and I just thought, you know what, that's me done. Fuck it, I'm done. I'm gonna go pro. Like I'd done enough in the amateurs for me anyway to then go, okay, that's what I needed to make my decision for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the pro career then. Mike still uses kilograms in your weight. He said you're going down to 74 kilograms. Now I'm pounds, so I'm going to try and work that out. Is that like middleweight or super middleweight? What are you trying to get down to?
It's in between the both. So I'm looking to go down to middleweight after this fight, but this was a catch weight at 74 kg. So I don't know what the pounds conversion is there, but
I think it's 2.2 times 2.2, whatever that is. If you can do the maths quick, Jack.
I couldn't even do the maths for you, mate. No, I'm not that. I'm a boxer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Look, 74 kilos. So it's a kilo and a half. Yeah, kilo and a half heavier than the middleweight limit. And then after this fight, I'm looking to move down to middleweight. But just my first fight was at light heavy, so now I was going to come down to super middle, but then over COVID and good diet and doing everything right, look, I've found I'm sitting lighter than I would have had to make super middleweight. So I thought, let's move down a little bit, and this is just the bridge in between, and then next fight I'll go down.
Well, that's only 3 pounds. If my maths is right, that's only 3 pounds over the championship limit, the 160 pound.
Yeah, limit. So it's exactly that. Yeah.
I ain't too bad. But you're a big boy. Mike was saying as well. So you did fight up at 81 in the amateurs, and you said the last fight was up at light heavy. So do you feel like you're going to be big and strong at 160 at middleweight?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've got all the ability and skills, speed, and elusiveness with my movements, but just having that power and the size over people, I don't have so much, especially at light heavyweight. They're big boys. Domestically, I feel like I'd go okay, but once we start hitting like Commonwealth, European level, those boys are really big. So I thought if I can get every little advantage I can, then we'll do it with the weight as well. And I will be bigger and stronger there too, because I'm probably 184 centimeters, so just over 6 foot.
Yeah.
So I'll be pretty solid at middleweight.
Definitely, that's a big weight. You sort of described your style there a little bit, your elusiveness and stuff like that. How would you describe your style of fighting then to the people that don't know Jack Bowen?
I'm very smart with what I do in the ring. I box, I move, but since turning pro, I've had to adjust my style and adapt and working close, and I've been sparring pros for a few years now, so it's been handy to learn those little tricks and how to get through rounds and grappling and getting yourself out of position. So look, I'm just adding everything to my boxing abilities now and coming on tenfold. But definitely, I think if you had to describe me, it's elusive, it's counterattack, good smart boxing.
I want to ask then, you're 1-0. The frustration of being out the ring for 13 months, like you said there. You've got a fight on Saturday night. You've got itchy knuckles, I believe. So what can the fans expect from you on Saturday night against this opponent?
A good class performance. I think, look, this guy I'm fighting is no bum either. He's pretty tough. He's got a Muay Thai background. He's had about 40-odd Muay Thai, professional Muay Thai fights. He in his pro debut, he beat a boy over here who's 9-1. Look, he comes to fight and look, common sense would say he'd probably last the 6 rounds, but I feel with everything I've learned over this COVID break and all the rounds I've been doing, I feel I get him out in the 5th or 6th round, just through smart boxing and then picking my shots and breaking him down towards the end.
Well, that's the
thing. Definitely itchy knuckles for sure.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Frustrating.
I bet it is. Is he not the same record as you? 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0 as well. Yeah. And he fought a former Australian champion in his debut, dropped him twice. He's not too bad, but boxing ability wise, I got him covered.
I think this is testament. The matchmaking for this is testament to how your matchmakers and Mike, your manager, and MTK, how they feel that how you will progress in the pro ranks, and how it's testament to your boxing ability that you're facing somebody like this in only your second pro fight.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a step up and it's a learning progression fight too, because you come out of this in a good performance, then you're going to learn, and then the next one I can step up a little bit more and step up and gradually progress, and that's the beauty of having MTK behind me and Mike Altamira. I trust them more than anything with putting me in the right position to eventually, so when I get my world title shot, I won't fall short. I'll be able to give it a really good crack.
You mentioned the world title shot there. Obviously, you're only going to be going well on Saturday night, 2-0. But I'm guessing that the hopes and dreams of your professional career for you is to become a world champion. Now, for you to become a world champion in this middleweight division, you've got a tough ask at these guys at elite level. Demetrius Andrade, Gennady Golovkin's still there, even at his age, at 38 years old. You've got Charlo. Do you know what I mean? You've got the guys in the UK. You've got Liam Williams, Chris Eubank Jr. You've got Liam Smith. For you to get to this world level, it's not going to be an easy task, is it?
No, that's it. But it's as I said, it's progression. You're not going to fight a Liam Smith. You're not going to fight a Charlo in your third pro fight. I've got a few years. I'm still young. I'm 24, so I've got years to build, years to grow, and then by the time I get there, my experience and things I've learned along the way, I'll be able to put a really good performance on with these boys. You know, this is still, it's progression. It's putting everything in the right place. Like, you see a lot of people jump too early and fall short, and I'm in this for the long term. I'm in here, so when I do get there, I stay there.
Yeah,
but I know it's hard to say at 1-0, but you got to start and you've got to progress, and it's a long process. I've been in this game for 12 years now. I'm ready for another 10, another 15. I'm not too sure, but I'm in it for the long haul.
Definitely, that's a great answer. But I mean, when I mentioned them names there, this type of fighters that they are, I mean, for the middleweight division, it's always been a fancy division. It's always had the big names. You can go back to Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, even Roberto Duran.
Duran,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a sexy division, let's call it. So
That's it. Yeah.
When you think about the division, I mean, your mouth must be watering to finally get up to there at that world level scene.
Yeah, for sure. And you got like such a great example to follow, and so many greats to look up to, and keep pushing and training, and keep like I've been watching those fights, especially over the COVID break. Like I think, like my generation especially, I'm big on just watching highlights because you just want to see the end result quickly.
Yeah,
everything's so fast access for us. But over COVID, I've had time to go back, watch Hagler, Hearn, Leonard, Duran, all these greats, and they're all middleweights, and that's kind of where I've routed towards as well, and Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. And then being able to just follow that division, and the names you mentioned before, being able to watch them, and Alvarez, and Billy Joe Saunders. So look, it's been cool, and yeah, your mouth waters like listen to some of them names and some of them greats, and those big shoes to fill, but just keep ticking the boxes along the way, and hopefully one day I can get up there.
You mentioned there Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo. I mean, I've been lucky enough to cover Canelo in his last two fights against Cam Smith and Yildirim out in Miami there, and for me, he just looks like he's the complete fighter, Canelo. But Billy Joe is somebody that he hasn't fought before in terms of the trash talking, the mind games. He's already started the mind games, Billy Joe. He's a southpaw. He's big. He's strong at super middleweight as well. So undefeated world champion, 30-0. I just want to get your thoughts on that fight. Do you give Billy a chance?
100%. Yeah, I think, as you said, the lead up. I don't know how that'll play into the final result. I'm not too sure, but look, Canelo seems pretty calm and he's used to the big stage, but Billy Joe seems pretty wild from what I've seen. I watch IFL TV a fair bit. Yeah. But whether that plays a part, I'm not too sure. But boxing ability, if the right Billy Joe Saunders turns up, I believe he's more than a chance, you know. And look, I thought Canelo struggled with Lara, tall, rangy southpaw, tricky Cuban style. Look, could Saunders do the same? He could upset the boat.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
it's a good fight. I think it's the best fight to be made. I think it's better than the Plant fight. I think Billy Joe and Canelo was the one to make.
Yeah, I think Billy's got a great chance in this fight in terms of what he brings to the table and stuff like that. But back to you then, Jack. Australian boxing is screaming for that superstar, screaming like Costa Sue back in the day. That was back in the day when before Ricky Hatton, the UK fans will remember. But Australian boxing is screaming for that superstar, that world elite level fighter that can propel Australian boxing to bring the big nights, the big world championships fights to Sydney, to wherever in Australia. I know you're in Queensland and stuff like that. So are you that man? Are you that guy to bring Australian boxing back in terms of that big superstar name? Might be a pressure question to ask, but you know,
I believe I got the ability. I just got to tick all the boxes along the way. It's like I've said, it's to be that marquee Australian fighter. It's definitely, I think with Jeff Horn, the Pacquiao fight over here, that kind of broke a few waves, and then we've had George Kambosos just signed a deal to fight Teofimo Lopez. Massive. And you know, he wins that, he can bring big time boxing back over to Australia. That's pretty much what Costa did too. So look, I think I'm coming through at the right time, and there's boys leading the charge now, and I'm a fair bit behind them. But by the time it's my time, 100%. And I think by the time I do get there, the Australian public will have a taste, have a real passion for the sport. Hopefully by then, especially if they see results. Like if Kambosos gets this win, that's going to be huge for boxing over here, because it's not. We've got Australian rules football. We've got rugby league, NRL, cricket. They're the main sports over here. If we can get boxing into that mainstream on our main platforms too, like our main channels, like Channel 10, Channel 9, etc. I think it'll go a long way in helping my career and be that marquee person we're looking for. Yeah, 100%.
Well, you see that in the UK. UK's the boxing over here in the UK is probably our third spot. We have football, rugby, and then arguably you could say it's boxing, and then every other sports below. But boxing in the UK is up there. It's watched. It's on primetime, Sky Sports, BT Sports. It's everywhere. But like you say, Australia need that big name to break through, like you said, to get on these big channels. But Jack, you've got a fight this Saturday. I know you're the weigh-in's tomorrow.
That's
so
it. Yeah.
I won't keep you much longer, my man. I know you're probably starving or you're ready for your bed or something along them lines. But one final word for you and your fight on Saturday night.
Just look, if you've watched this interview, thank you for supporting. And look, I'm a massive fan of IFL TV, so thank you for having me on. Me and my coach Gareth actually watch a fair bit.
Oh, my pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
Yeah, and just want to thank Mike Altamira and MTK for making this possible too. So, look, exciting times ahead for Australian boxing, hopefully, and hopefully I can be that man to bring it to you guys overseas.
Definitely. Well, Jack, I've got your number now, so whenever you've got a big fight lined up or you've got another fight lined up, all I need to do is give you a WhatsApp message and we'll organise another interview and we'll get something done. We'll keep your name out there, okay, bud?
Thank you. Appreciate all the support, mate.
Anytime, my man. Stay safe and I'll speak to you soon.
Will do. Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Thank you.